Today I want to show you all of the really cool stuff you can do with shapes in Keynote. Now we're using the macOS desktop version. You can do some of this stuff in the iOS version, but not all of it. And I'll point out which ones make the difference here. So I'm just going to go to shapes today and I'm going to grab just a basic square here. Now we can transform this square into a rectangle. I guess a square is a rectangle, but a different type of rectangle by pulling on the handles. Okay, pretty standard stuff. If you ever want to lock the aspect of that, go here, constrain the proportions, and it's going to keep that all the same. Okay. But what I want to do is I want to start to play around and combine different shapes and show some of those things that happen in the arrange menu here. So I'm going to change this one to red so that we can see it a little better. And if we wanted to take a bite out of this blue rectangle with this red oval, I'm going to make sure they're both selected. So I have this one selected, hold down shift and click that. Now when I go to arrange, I get these options down here. And I can subtract that to take a chunk out of it. I can unite it to add to it. I can intersect it, so just where they cross over is left. And if I exclude it, now we have where they crossed over taken out and the two shapes added together. Now, that's super simple with a couple of basic shapes. But let's dig into our shape menu. Let's see what else we can do here. So if I go and I get a, we'll get the squirrel. Oh, we'll use the gorilla. We'll use the gorilla. And I want to go to objects is always fun. And I'm going to find him a baseball hat. That one right there. Make it a little bigger. Put it on him. It's a little too big. Go up there so it can see it some more. Okay, and now let's go get him a, is it in activities? Is that what a skateboard is? All right, we'll get him a skateboard. Okay, so we'll add it there. It's a little, can you imagine how big that skateboard would be if you got a gorilla that big? There we go. Okay, now I can just take my mouse and I can rope all of this stuff and I can unite that together. And now we have that, and I can change him to any different color I want. And that's super, this is really great for using a laser cutter. So you can create your own shapes like this, but if you're going to be sending it to a laser cutter, one of my favorite activities to do with kids, we would save this as a PDF, send it to the laser cutter, we'd cut this out of wood, and then this would be a magnificent writing prompt for our kids. Okay, so you can combine all those shapes that way. Let's look at something else though. Let's go to transportation. Let's look at we'll just get a truck here. Okay. Thing that always frustrates kids is they want to make this a red truck, but they don't want red tires. Did you know if you do a right click or control click on this, you have this little piece here where you can break it apart. Okay, so now I'm going to take both those tires. Now I can make them black. Now if I were to group this all and go to arrange and unite it, it would make everything the same color. And we don't want that, so we're going to use group there. Okay, so breaking apart shapes is really fun. If I ungroup this, now I can actually get rid of these tires. And I can go back and I can type in tire into my, I can get some more rugged off-road tires. Put that on there, get it into place. Duplicate it, drag that one over. Get it into place. All right. Make those both black. Now we're going to group all of that. Don't want to unite it. We just want to group it. And so now we have that, and then when it's grouped, you can keep it constrained that way. So those are really basic things you can do. Well, watch this. If I just go to a regular shape here. Okay. Now, if I right-click this, control-click, I can go to Make Editable. Now, this is what you can't do on iOS. On everything else, you can do all the combining and subtracting the shapes and breaking apart and all that stuff. But you can't do this shape remake. So if I drag this corner, now I can totally transform this shape. Now if I do this, if I double click that, now I get that. So if we go back to, if we wanted to build a launch ramp or a half pipe for our skateboarding gorilla, we can do that just like that. Okay, so that is, and then also notice when I mouse over in between 2 points, I get another one. And by default, that's going to be rounded. But if I wanted to make this one hard or square or whatever you want to call it, I just double click those, and then I can move those around that way. Really, really helpful. And this is high end, like this is big time Illustrator stuff, but you are able to do this all in a Google, or my goodness, not Google, in a Keynote. We never, when I was teaching STEM with my elementary kids, hardly ever use Keynote as a presentation machine. We used it to create really cool stuff. And now here I am, and I'm starting to get like a wave action. I wish you could do this in iOS on the iPad. It would be fabulous. You can't, but you can still create some amazing stuff. And like I said, when you export these as a PDF and you put it into something like a Glowforge, a laser cutter, these shapes then become available for you to cut out. Also, if I keep this wave here and I right click, I have this, it's like it's getting cut off. Let me move this up a second. So if I do this, you have this button, Saved My Shape. So after you create your own shape, you can put it into a menu that you'll always have. And you can get really, really cool, elaborate shapes, things going on. And a lot of different things can be made just by cutting off different parts and adding them together. One of my favorite things to do with my students around the holidays was to create gingerbreads. We would create all the shapes in Keynote, and then we would send those to our laser cutter and cut these shapes out of graham crackers, and then we would build really fun gingerbreads. And in order to create these windows, all these are really basic shapes that are being cut out of these rectangles, or we'll do a cutout and then we'll add in some other stuff here. And there's some decorations and doilies and things in the shape menu. If I go all the way down to ornaments, a bunch of this fun stuff, something like this. When I take this, I could add this on as a decoration, something up in here, or I could break this apart and use those. I don't even know how to describe that. Use all these pieces in shapes here. That's how we get like this curly stuff for my accents. Um, really neat to do, and I encourage you to get in and dig around with all the shapes.